Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramanaya. Hari Om. It's a great opportunity for me today to share some of the thoughts on Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi and Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's teachings. So far on the globe, ever since Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi appeared and withdrew his manifestation on earth, lakhs of people, even in crores, they have read Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's literature, heard about him, talked about him, and they have immensely benefited by the teachings of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Now, many Mahatmas, seekers have already spoken exhaustively on Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's teachings. So today, in a couple of minutes, for some time together, we will try to reflect again on Sri Bhagavan's teachings. Now see friends, we all know that Bhagavan gave us something called direct path. He gave us direct path of inquiry, Atma Vichara. And this needs extraordinary subtlety, extremely subtle, deeply focused, and highly alert one should be in navigating every thought and taking that every thought to the inquiry called Who Am I? So that needs extraordinary skill. Therefore, I would always say, I personally feel that everyone is not fit enough to tread the path shown by Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Only when certain purification is gained mentally, as great master says it, clearing the subconscious of all the deep unwanted impressions or vasanas or tendencies, seeds of personality which are obstructing us. When we try to inquire, because of these obstructions, the mind, you are focusing, like you are showing a ray, a torchlight, you are trying to show it on a particular focus, an object, but in between many objects have come, so the light reflects. It just goes here and there. It bounces back and goes in a different direction because of the obstacles in between. Similarly, our mind, when it is impure, we will not be able to steadily inquire, looking within, because it needs an extraordinary skill of inner dimension of consciousness. As Puja Gurudev, Swami Chidrupananda, my guru, he always used to say that one should be quiet, alert and vigilant in meditation. Quiet, thoughts are less. But then when the thoughts are less, I immediately go to sleep, because mind knows only two conditions: either it is in active mode or inactive mode. I cannot keep the mind awake when there are no thoughts. So lesser and lesser thoughts, it goes to sleep. So I must keep it quiet. And quiet should not enter into deep sleep, so alert. And alert and vigilant. What kind of occasional thoughts are rising in me? I must be vigilant, be conscious. Once Puja Gurudev Swami Chidrupananda was invited to talk on Ramana Maharshi, Puja Gurudev went on to the stage and just kept silent for 5 minutes or so. He did not utter. Swami Chidrupananda, the great speaker, voracious speaker, wonderful speaker, powerful speaker in those days, and to talk on any subject, Gurudev would talk in Vedanta and etc. Most popular speaker in the world. Such a man was invited to speak on Ramana Maharshi. Here he is standing without talking a word for about 4 to 5 minutes. Is he searching for words? Is he scared? Or what exactly happened to Puja Gurudev? People were in the audience. They were actually stunned and surprised and looking at him. And after 3-4 minutes or 5 minutes or so, Puja Gurudev said, "This is Ramana." Meaning absolute silence. Maunam is Ramana. So therefore, Vritti Maunam, the thought Maunam, is actually Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's path. In the sense what? When we can, not suppress, sublimate maximum number of thoughts which disturb us. If we can sublimate them, and then minimum number of thoughts are there which I can really focus and divert them into self-inquiry, towards self-inquiry, then I will be in a position to understand what exactly is called Maunam, as Bhagavan said by Ramana Maharshi, the Vritti Maunam. Very minimum thoughts or no thoughts, but then I am alert, and there is no thoughts arising in my heart, because by nature they became quiet, and mind became quiet, and then calm and quiet and alert. So to embark even the journey of who am I, we need thorough preparation of Antakarana Shuddhi, or the inner purity. So that is one part. And then Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's path is mainly who am I. So whoever is adhikari for it, fit recipient or fit student to practice this path of enquiry is a great blessed indeed. There is no doubt about it. Shuddha Jnana Swarupa is Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. Pure, like 24 karat gold. And I always say, when we look at Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, even in pictures you say, I also have always the pictures in the room. So when I look at Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, then we see no glamour inside. It's a pure consciousness manifesting there. And there's absolute no glamour at all. So that is the state where Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is in. So to path of inquiry is, Ramana Maharshi is to guide us always, that where is this I thought springing from? That is how. So that means what? I must be enough now, enough purified to recognize, because this I thought is constantly erupting and taking different shapes and sizes and changes. It changes constantly, because like Vrutti Sarupyam Itaratra, Yoga Sutras. Whether, Swarupe Avasthanam, that, when Yoga Chitta Vrittis or Nirodha took place, then Tada Drastu Swarupe Avasthanam, then actually that he abides in his own self. Otherwise, what happens? In two conditions only we have. Either we abide in our own self completely as self exists, or in the absence of that situation or condition, then what is the mind is doing? Mind is constantly identifying with different objects. The ego is constantly identifying with different objects. So everywhere when object comes, I am the seer or perceiver of the object. That I is born, the object goes, this relative I disappeared, another I take different shape and size of the particular thing. So this I is constantly rising, erupting. Many eyes are being erupted. Temporary eyes, which are false eyes, are plenty. Moment to moment they are changing. So when these eyes are springing, if normally what's happening to all of us is that the tsunami of the eyes, I apostrophe S, Many eyes, because every moment I'm identifying with something, I'm changing myself into something else, colored myself something into, then again drop the object, again another object thought comes, identify with it, another eye is born, like that, constantly changing, like non-stop, restlessly. And in this eye, and this is not the eye which we have to inquire, unless because of tsunami, so much of thoughts are there. Even if I start my inquiry, who am I, the inquirer, at least even born relative spiritual student, is also sucked into the stream of all these ego thoughts, and he forgets himself what he is doing. And after maybe 20-30 minutes, he will come back to consciousness, senses, and say, oh, I am supposed to do self-inquiry, but then the very inquiry itself had gone because I am not alert. So high degree of alertness is absolutely necessary. Only when we are relatively, my mind is calmer, then I can start inquiring, who am I? To whom? Who is this observer? To whom this is happening? And Ramana Maharshi very clearly said, by saying neti neti, nayiti nayiti, means not this, not this, not this, or by saying repeated thought repetition of who am I, who am I, who am I. It is not by doing japa, it is not inquiry, he would say. Japa is not inquiry. Japa is what? Actually, it's a silent search within. It's a silent search. The spring of consciousness is there in me, and even now it is there. In you it is there, listener, speaker. That consciousness is always there. Without there is any change. That is the substratum on which the mind is playing and thoughts are rising up and dissolving. In that beautiful state of that extreme, that the substratum, in that spring of consciousness, that is me. And so I have to search that, and that presence is always there. I must inquire with the thought to try to know who is this I. In fact, the superficial I, when I is constantly born, egoistic I, when I inquire about this I, who am I, this little I will take you to the source, and the little I will disappear. That is the path Bhagavan has advocated. So this is to be done. Yes, of course, every day, exclusive time only to focus on the seat of meditation, just to observe the spring of I am already existing. I must be only aware of my awareness. So there the observer is awareness, the observed also is awareness. So I am aware of my awareness. I am using certain language. Only when practice we can understand. I am aware of my awareness, and later on the object awareness, and then the subject awareness, the one who is aware, the object also is awareness only. These two actually merge, and what remains is awareness. It is only a silent experiment, silent journey, a silent discovery or silent investigation. It is within our own deep consciousness of the mind, within the mind, within the intellect. It is search within. But one should be inspired to know who am I. Because the entire samsara, because of I only. In Saddarshanam Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, Satpratyaya kin vihaya santam. The very beginning itself says, can there anything, objects exist without the I thought? Think about it. So, can there be thoughts of the existence without the objects? Impossible. So, without the existence principle, Sat Pratyayaha Kinnu Vihaya, Sat Pratyaya Vihaya, Kinnu Santam, meaning the objects cannot exist anything without me. First of all, I should exist, then only the objects can exist. Without me, the objects cannot exist because I am the one who is seeing them. And what is that existence? Bhagavan named it Hridayam, Hrit. Where it is? In the heart. To focus it, okay, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi said spiritual heart is the right side. Doesn't matter, even at least with that intention in my heart it is, when Hrit, the pure spring of consciousness, Hrit is called consciousness, existence. When I can do that clearly, even though I am there, no? So just only on that. As I. not as a thought, not as a ego thought. So therefore, Hrut, see, Katam Smaramaha Tam Ameyamekam Tasya Smrti Tata Dudhaiva Nishtha. That Smrti, that Smrti means what? Again, it is not remembrance. Smrti is not japa. Like example given by the great masters is very simple example. They say that now I am man or somebody is woman. Now I am man. I am man. I know the Smrti is always there without a thought. I can call it a Smrti or I can call it as is always a subconscious awakening is there inside me. I am man. Therefore, when I go outside, I know I am a man, so I join only in the men's line. I sit on where men are sitting. The ladies' side I don't join. I wear men's clothes only. I don't wear specifically. There are some clothes for women that I don't wear. I am not confused. At the same time, I am not doing japa that I am man, I am man, I am man. I don't do that japa. Nor I forget who am I. Physically I am talking. So that is called Smrti. Similarly, over a period of time, the background, right now the background, the existence is so dormant because covered by so many the erupting ice like tsunamis. So many waves are erupting. High tides are erupting. So this tide is covering the substratum. So though the substratum is constantly there as aham shuddha aham, I am not aware of it. I am not focusing on it. I forgot about it and I took it for granted. As we take the breath for granted, are we conscious of our breath every time? No, we are not conscious. We take breath for breathing for granted. It is there always with me, closely connected. It is in fact foundation of life. Breath is foundation of life. But I hardly remember. Existence is closer than breath. It is a constant. There is no change. So that remembrance is not actually in the sense that we try to remember by thought. It is there. I am there. I am always there. It is there. That's it. So awakening to that existence and remembering that I am there always. I am the Shuddha Aham. The pure I is always there. And that is called meditation. That is called awakening. That is called seeking. So that's the Drodeva Nishtha. That is the Nishtha. And only when I forget, all the troubles will come. I'll just for example, Laukik example. I'll give the Laukik means transaction and the worldly example I'll give you. See, when you remember that you are born in a good family, son of a very called great gentleman, and the mother is a great, family is great, and then if you remember the background properly and you belong to an elite society, not in terms of money and glamour, etc. I'm talking, not in that sense, well noted, cultured family you are. Like for example, I take my example, in Chinmaya mission, Puja Gurudev had sent Chinmayananji, Puja Gurudev, Swami Chinmayananji Maharaj had set a trend for all of us that we should be on time and end on time. Time conscious, time sense, he was so particular and he demonstrated it throughout his life. So he planted that in me, in all of us. So Chinmaya mission Gurudev means time. So you should start on time, end on time. So that had gone engraved deep into us so much so that I cannot forget it. Therefore, if I were to be somebody not following the time, I feel sad because I remember the culture it was set in the kind of organization that I belong to, the kind of great Mahatma whom I follow, my Guru. So when I remember that, so I dare not do any kind of silly mistake here. Similarly, when I constantly remember in the background that the self is there within me, so my entire behavior changes, because I want to know myself, who am I? I wanted to free from all this, the kind of the buffeting world, turmoil, lot of horripilations, turbulations in life. I don't want all of them. So I want peace of mind, peace, and therefore I want to discover who am I first of all. So the smriti is there, no? Like background, my smriti of that Gurudev's time has gone in deep into me. I may not specifically remember and invoke him, but that smriti is always background coming, where there is no thought, no anxiety, no hesitations, no waves are created or thought waves are created, not much banging of remembrance is there. At the same time, that is playing in the background, which I am tuned to it, just as a musician is tuned to tumbura or the tanpura, we say. The tanpura is being played behind, and the singer is talking to violinist in bed, looking at tabla man, like looking at violinist or harmony, all other this one, and the instrumentalist players. The artist is looking at the artist, other artist is singing also, but all the time he is always listening to the tanpura, the tumbura music constant, the nada is being generated, and yes, that with the background to which he remains always awakened throughout the program of his own program, or meaning the bhajan singing, etc., or kirtana singing throughout the program. That awareness is called remembrance. Tasya smriti tatra dhraiva nishtha. Okay. And therefore, very clearly, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says very clearly, we are all afraid of death. See, mrutyunjaya mrutyubhya ashritanam aham matir mrutyumupaiti purvam. And all people are constantly worried of what? Death. So, I don't want to die. I want to remain always alive, and I want to be happy. Think. So therefore, Bhagavan says, Aham matihi mrutyumupaiti purvam. So in everybody, the I notion first dies first. So when I try to conquer the death, who is dying actually? Very interesting. We really observe, I don't want to die. Who doesn't want to die? I. Who is this I? Ego. Ego doesn't want to die. Now the tragedy is, ego is constantly dying. The triputty is constantly changing. Knower, known, knowledge, seer, seen, seeing, hearer, hearing, he heard. This eye, hearer, seer, smeller, taster, toucher, knower, thinker is always changing. In fact, every time death is taking place. Yet, the continuity of ego, which is a locus of all these eyes, together collected and formed a strong memory which is passing through a thread, and that memory is called as this I, individual, the ego. He doesn't want to die totally. If you dismantle all the thought structure, there is no I. If you dismantle all the waters in the river, there is no river. So dismantling it. So I wanted to live long, but as I wanted to remain, as ego I want to remain, not as supreme I. But the question is, only when you really wanted to conquer death, the very thought that who is actually constantly mentioning it to me that I don't want to die, that fellow has to die. When it dies only, I am really awakened to the deathless state. about it. Therefore, when I notion dies first, Bhagavan says, Ataha Swabhavat Amrteshu Teshu Katam Punarmrutyudiyo Avakashaha. When you are actually reveling in that natural, pure, immortal consciousness, and where is the question or room for the notion of death, Katham Punaha Mrutyudiyaha, Mruchu thought, Diyam is Buddhi, Mruchu Buddhi, Mruchu thought. Avakasha, where there is a scope even for that death thought, when the I thought itself is dropped. So this samsari is I. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, see, many times he said somebody asked how to do it and all that. He says, actually it is difficult, he said. Self-inquiry difficult. Ramana Maharshi said once, he said, just see, gathering garbage around us is not difficult. We are actually gathering garbage. The eye is getting thicker and thicker. Eye is getting caught up in many things and many issues, etc., etc. We are actually protecting the eye. We are actually supporting this little eye. I means that eye, ego eye, supporting, fattening the eye, and then protecting the eye. And we are constantly seeing that this little ego is not hurt, and we are protecting. And whole life mission has become what? To protect eye, to make it satisfied. Eye should be satisfied. This little eye should be satisfied. And what is that eye? It doesn't have existence. It has its own existence, it doesn't have. And it is constantly changing. This little eye, I wanted to protect it. And onwards he said, to the little eye, we are always gathering, attracting so much of garbage in the form of thoughts and ideas and notions and then karma. And it is becoming thicker and thicker. And Bhagavan said, instead of dropping it, which actually speaking, remember, I always say that actually if you're dropping is easier. But then I am unable to drop. So two examples I'll give you here. In Bhagavatam, the story that comes there, crow has got that piece of meat and then it rose high, and then all crows have started running, following the main, this crow who is carrying in its beak the piece of meat, flesh, mamsa. And this crow trying to protect the piece of the meat which is holding with its own beak, and trying to escape. The whole lot of gang of crows are. Ultimately, the crow went up, and then everybody is following and chasing for the piece of meat, and he was fed up and he just dropped. The moment he dropped, all the crows also left him, and started running after the piece of meat wherever it is falling. Instantly, this crow discovered a great peace because he dropped what he was holding on to unnecessarily. Let me drop it, and discovered peace. Similarly, dropping is easier actually, but we are complaining. We want to hold it. We don't want to drop all that burden in the mind. At the same time, we want realization and peace of mind. It's just contradictory. So Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi always said, don't carry weight like a passenger carrying the weight on his own head in the train. So this kind of understanding is absolutely necessary. So we are actually the strengthening eye. The strengthening eye should be dropped. So dismantle this eye. So that means what? We are doing vyavahara in this world. Vyavahara means transacting in the world. At the same time, there is no question of, the force with which we react, and we take so seriously, so real everything. In the background of that, we must understand, yes, this is a vyavaharika satyam. Pratabhashika satyam and then paramarthika satyam. But vyavaharik, it's only transactional pain, it is there. Yes, it is there. But when I awaken, this also appears as clearly I can understand, experience as a cinema on the screen. But right now, I am identified with it so strongly. But I believe the words of my Guru and the scripture that I must transcend all this. And any day one day, at least I should establish myself. One day means a language I am using. I'm establishing myself means what? I must awake myself to my own existence, that I am eternal, supreme, homogeneous, all-pervading, deathless, birthless, Atman, I am. I'm the pure consciousness. For that awakening only we have to struggle. So Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, they always spoke about Guru is necessary, Guru Anugraha is necessary, Guru's grace is necessary, primarily Guru's grace. And again he would say, who is that Guru? Your Guru is none other than your own Atman, he would say again. We is inside you. So therefore, external Guru pushes you from outside to go into you, inside to make you turn within. Avrutta chakshu amrutatvam icchan. And inner Guru tries to suck us from inside. So that is grace. The grace is Guru is sucking from inside. So Guru's grace is absolutely necessary. Primarily, Guru's grace plays a role in enlightenment. Ramana Maharshi Bhagavan said many times. So that Guru's grace is absolutely necessary. So, and therefore, we must always remember Ramana Maharshi's path is so beautiful, at the same time too subtle, it is too deep to understand, and it is not an easy piece of bread for anybody to taste and enjoy it. But you must prepare for it, and it demands too much subtlety inside to navigate all these things. Awareness has to be there, high degree of awareness is required. When all these things come together, I think our journey can be smooth, and soon we discover what we are already, what we are. That, oh, this is me. So far I've been thinking the body is me. So far I've been thinking the mind is me. So far I'm thinking this is me, ideas are me, notions are me. This is not me. This is me. What? The pure consciousness, unconditioned, and therefore that which has no name, no form, and then nama, rupa, no quality, guna, no action, kriya, no relationship, no sambandha. See? No vishesha, no adjectives. So nama, rupa, guna, kriya, vishesha, sambandha, that vastu for which all these things are absent, that vastu must be infinite only, because anything name and form is conditioned. The form is limited. But this consciousness is, when all these things, when you are negated, what remains is, I remain as a capital I, as a pure awareness, I shine. Swayam vibhati. Paramapurna sat. Ahamapetakam nijavibhanakam mahadidam tapo ramanavagyam. This is beautiful saying of Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi. He says, just awaken to the truth. Be prepared for it. Awaken, and once for all the problems samsara will end. Otherwise, whatever solutions we find temporarily, they don't give us any permanent joy. One after one, we have to keep on searching solutions for our life. That is not the ultimate. We can do as long as we are living, but that is in the background. We must know, one day I must awake myself to my own true essential nature. In this great journey, Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi is not an ordinary man. I need not tell you, all know it. Such a great Mahatma, and his path is so direct. We invoke Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi's grace on all the seekers of the world, whether they know, consciously heard or studied about Ramana Maharshi or not. Let all seekers be blessed by Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, and let them all awake to their own essential nature, and then by their mere existence itself, let them become a great blessing to the world around you. So thank you all for giving this opportunity. May God bless you all. May Bhagavan Ramana bless you all. Om Tat Sat Shubham Swasti. Hari Om.